Across China, there is a vast array of breathtaking natural wonders, including golden deserts, lush green mountains, and blue oceans. Hundreds of thousands of individuals are helping to protect China's great outdoors, and they're coming up with new solutions to the problems they encounter. This collective effort is also unlocking new opportunities for economic prosperity, helping to prove that when nature prospers, so do we.
Listen closely. This isn't just the sound of machinery, it's the wind singing through steels as it whistles its way across the Gobi Desert. This is the northeastern fringe of the Taklamakan Desert, the world's second largest shifting sand desert. This land is so foreboding, it makes you think about the sentiment in the old ancient poem, west of Yong Pass, no old friends remain. 2,000 years ago, the legendary Chinese Emperor Wu of Han was creating the Dongwang Commandery. Merchants from the western regions and silk from the central plains of China converged here. But the increase in human activity led to desertification, causing the region's prosperity to fade. For thousands of years, people here have sought ways to coexist with the desert. Yet this land, often imagined as barren, its survival a balance between oasis and desert, has become a popular tourist destination in recent years. In 2024 alone, Dunhuang received over 20 million visitors. They call this the Super Mirror Power Station, and for good reason. For every direction you look, there's just a sea of mirrors, all of them pointed towards the sky, capturing sunlight to be stored.
Today, 天气不错，可以开始预热。
好，收到。
More than 10,000 heliostats concentrate Dunhuang's sunlight onto the receiver tower, and the molten salt storage system begins charging for the day. This is China's first 100 megawatt class molten salt tower solar thermal power plant. Molten salt stores the sun's heat, allowing the plant to continue operating after sunlight. Under suitable conditions, it can generate electricity continuously for 24 hours, supplying clean power to the grid. However, frequent sandstorms can reduce power generation efficiency and even compromise the safety of the power plant.
沙尘暴它来的特别快，肉眼可见，你都反应不及的这个。聚光绝缘系统还在运行着，但是沙尘暴来一点光都没了，就直接就黑了。
The mirror field needs stability. So does the oasis. Born and raised here, Zheng Ruan has already devoted himself to desertification management for over 10 years. He knows the damage that the sandstorm could bring.
一般呢，7点就到这儿了，吃个早点就开始上班嘛。
Now Zheng Ruan is leading a team made up of local villagers. Together, they try to make Dunhuang a little bit greener. To make it easier for them to look after the sax owl, they moved into this newly built shed in 2018.
咱们跟伙伴们一起到林子去看看这刮胡的这个情况。队长，那发电机都正常着呢。那个之前每年到春季，这个沙尘天气是越来越严重，一场大风刮的地膜都刮着架在树上，损失还是比较大的。后面机缘巧合吧，到这个保护区工作了几年，接触到环保这一口上。
The sandstorms he witnessed years ago remain vivid in Zheng Wen's memory. His time working in the nature reserve showed him that people are not powerless in the face of wind and sand.
他是我的目标。
这都是我小学时候的老师啊，都在默默的支持这件事情。
当然了，人家是我的老师了，现在。
对呀，对呀。
是不是哥？
Dozens of forest rangers are working in this field, but with the water pump out of order, they can only wait for water supply to resume.
3分的种，7分的管嘛，你管不好，林子也活不了。到什么时间，该到这片林子要浇水了，要给它把水浇上来。看一下，啥情况？哎，这咋倒也好着呢？如果之前种下的这片林子管护不好，这片林子死掉，比种这片林子罪过要大。哎呀！ 哎呦，收多了。哦呦，前面判断说是铡刀出现了问题，烧掉了。结果查了一下，铡刀没有问题，但是查到这儿来，这台水泵烧了。哎呦，
那还没救呢，那边我那个有些那狗的子女的。
As Zheng Wen inspects the far end of the water pipeline, a replacement pump arrives on site.
好了，把水泵推上。
Here, planning is only the beginning. The harder work lies in repeatedly checking the pipelines, repairing leaks, monitoring water use, and directing every precious drop to where the roots need it most.
这是今年春天刚种下去的小苗，现在呢就是精准的给它灌水。
From canal irrigation to precision irrigation, Dunhuang makes the most of every drop of water, despite limited resources, steadily strengthening this part of the Greenbelt.
防风治沙，这是个非常漫长的一项工作，而不是说你今年想的一下子就它能治住，你就想老老实实把一件小事做好，总得有人负责，把这个事儿延续下去。
我们以前都听说有水就是绿洲，没有水就是沙漠。在阳关绿洲这地方，这个表现特别明显，界限就是泾渭分明。绿洲的外面就是茫茫的这个沙漠和戈壁。
The decision to plant Saxual forest was far from arbitrary. Dunhuang owes its existence to a delicate balance between wind conditions and water reserves, the forces that shape this oasis. Where to plant and how much to plant must all be guided by careful scientific planning. About 70 kilometers southwest of Dunhuang lies Yangguang, once an important gateway on the ancient Silk Road. It stands on the front line of Dunhuang's efforts to control desertification.
我们现在站的这个位置，它是敦煌绿洲外的一个风沙口。 防沙治沙主要就是要把这个风沙口风沙固住嘛，就不会侵蚀危害咱们绿洲内部。我们现在主要从植被恢复和荒漠化防治研究、河西走廊和塔克拉玛干沙漠边缘地区，这是我在工作的主战场。刚开始我们铺的时候就差过一段时间，然后就它埋了多少，然后就我们进行一些其他的一些计算。
In this critical wind and sand corridor, scientific management is especially important. The protective barrier here must withstand persistent wind-blown sand while making do with scarce water.
我们就发现它要多重防护，它这个效果才更好。要像建立一个3层防护的一个体系。第一层就可以采取植物纤维毯来固定，然后在沙漠和戈壁之间，我建立这种高绿色的沙帐。 我们是用了杨树的枝条，高度是1.8米，往地里埋了大概20公分吧，它就起到一个主固沙的这个作用。 第3层有农业汽水进行开沟，总共是12条沟，每2行之间间隔呢是10米，就是24公里。然后这个时间长以后，它就会形成一个线性的一个防护屏障。找这个风沙口来进行防治的话，也就相当于抓住了绿洲防护的一个牛鼻子。
Managing wind, sand, water, and vegetation to halt the desert's advance and restore lost greenery is a complex, systematic undertaking. The experience gained from these field experiments may eventually be applied across a much wider area, contributing to China's systemic efforts to control wind-blown sand. A study based on NASA satellite data found that China accounted for at least 1/4 of the global net increase in green leaf area between 2000 and 2017. Protecting the land is only the beginning. How to make good use of this desert in a sustainable manner is another challenge altogether. Across China's desert, Gobi, and wasteland regions, large-scale wind and solar power bases are being built. Completed earlier, the Dunhuang Solar Thermal Power Plant was an early exploration of how the abundant sunlight of the Gobi Desert could be transformed into clean energy.
这叫 receiver， 就是我们的吸热器。它跟光伏呢，一个叫光热，一个叫做光伏，但是2个原理呢差的还是比较大的。
At Mr. Chi's invitation, we're heading into the power plant to see firsthand how solar thermal projects like this are helping Dunhuang move towards a cleaner energy future.
Oh, it's big. Sun's so bright.
这个电站呢有12000面这样的镜子。
Wow.
整个项目呢建设呢就用了2年时间。我们一天的话，大概这样镜子可以装到100面左右。它的发电量1个小时是10万度电，一年就是2.5亿度电。8年了，现在越来越成熟，它的发电量每年都在增多。我们来之前，这边就是一片戈壁荒漠。
This is China's first 100 megawatt solar power plant. Before its construction, there was little domestic experience to draw on.
所有的东西呢都是一张白纸。现在看来，一句话的问题，当时可不是这样。当时是中国没有这样一个产业链。
Qi Dupeng was one of the power station's early employees. At a time when China had neither a domestic supply chain nor local suppliers, he and his team worked closely with manufacturers to forge a reliable path towards domestic production.
这个产业链呢，实际上说当时是起到一个很大作用，就把中国这个产业链给带起来。
光热电站在外人看来它很壮观，实际呢，它是由3到4个大的系统，然后又有好多个小系统，这些小系统呢又有几千个单一的设备，去共同组成了这么一个系统。
只能把我们这些背景向它传递，在这个过程中，我们实验说是个相互辅导的问题。
While in operation, the solar thermal power plant also serves as an open testing platform for suppliers. Countless components that once had to be imported are now produced domestically. Going from a blank page to achieving 97% localization rate, the journey has meant overcoming one hurdle after another.
我们遇到的所有的问题，你看现在再回想起10年前的很多设计，觉得是错的没边了。但是没有那个过程呢，你也不可能有今天。它就是这样一个过程，觉得就是一个不断螺旋上升的这样一个过程。我们看似走回原点了，但是实际上我们又上升到另外一个新的高度。我们的发电量一天比一天多，也是因为每年都在不断的去优化，在这10年中不断在做，包括现在也在做。
你只有一步一步踩稳脚步，不要想着一下子做多大的成就，那是不可能的。
A forest does not become a shelter belt the day it is planted. A power plant does not succeed the day construction ends. The challenges they face may differ, but their approach is much the same. When there are no readily available solutions, they overcome every obstacle step by step. For Dunhuang, progress is neither a single breakthrough nor a final destination. Rather, it is about persistence on a daily basis, every step of the way.
From a desert where even the hardiest plants struggled to survive, to an ancient tea forest bustling with age-old traditions, Jingmai Mountain is a place where people and nature have lived together for 1,000 years. And today, its people are exploring ways to take that coexistence into the future.
这些遗产，它不是天生下来的，都是一代一代的人守护出来的。
Jingmai Mountain. The Blang, Dai, and other ethnic groups have lived here for thousands of years. They rely on the vast tea forest for their livelihood and have long revered tea as sacred.
我认为世界文化遗产就是世界上最深、最高、最少有的文化。
The once tranquil tea mountain has gone global.
我们现在的景迈山也是全国人民的山，全世界人民的山。
这时速度上升，颠个40分钟，脑子要颠散了。
83-year-old Sugo Wen, the most respected elder of the Jingmai Mountain community, is on his way home.
这个路原来计划的是修柏油路嘛，但是它发出的那个味，特别是到了春茶季节，它发出的那个臭味更重、更浓。我也曾经试验过，凡是柏油路旁边的那些茶，泡起来都有一股焦味。 所以大家都不同意修那个路。
On Jingmai Mountain, tea is a totem linking humans with the divine. Legend has it that over 1,300 years ago, when a plague ravaged the mountain, an ancestor of the Blang people accidentally ate a tea leaf and miraculously recovered.
从此以后，茶叶就变成了布朗族唯一的药品。我们布朗族啊，把茶视为生命的一部分，来传承。
Over the past 1,000 years, tea on Jingmai Mountain has gone from being medicine to food, from tribute to currency. It is both a faith and the lifeblood of the people. Shingun is of the Dai ethnic group and lives on Jingmai Mountain. She shares the same deep reverence for tea.
每年那个气候条件不同，它发芽的时间还是有3到5天的，开采的时间还是有不一样。像我爬那棵树的话，按照这树干的直径跟高度，按景迈山的种植历史应该有800到1200年，就属于苦茶林当中比较大的树了。像会长这个螃蟹饺子，所以这个环境比较好。
Unlike the cultivated tea trees in terrace plantations, the tea trees of Jingmai Mountain grow beneath the forest canopy, forming a unique understory ecosystem of canopy trees, tea trees, herbs. This gives Jingmai tea its distinctive aroma.
有山有水，有树林，有茶林，有人，有村庄。
The tea's aroma needs to be brought out through a set of traditional techniques. Variation in raw materials and subtle differences in the production process give pu'er tea its distinctive flavors, drawing tea enthusiasts from near and far.
以前到春茶的时候，这里都是歌声、鸟声、昆虫声，而且有野兽。
Yet half a century ago, these old tea trees nearly vanished from the face of the earth.
那个大树是原来的没有砍，像这棵小小的是新种的嘛，这2棵都没有砍过。66年嘛，那个时候重点的是考虑吃饭问题，所以就把这个古茶园改造成种地的。 就在这个地方啊，这里有一棵大树，7个人砍了7天才把它砍倒的。
A young Sugowen and his father, Su Liya, watched helplessly as the tree was cut down.
没有办法挽救，那个时候也没有人抵制。
In 1978, with the reform and opening up, things began to change. And everyone on Jingbai Mountain agreed that the tea gardens should be protected.
这是我父亲在北京照的照片嘛，我父亲在临终前，他给我说：“死一棵，补一棵，一定要把古茶园保护好。” 来守护我们的景脉山。
His father's dying wish became Sugowen's lifelong mission. But before planting any trees, he had to ensure the villagers had enough to eat.
转型的时候，我是提出了一个要把牛耕变成鸡耕，牛耕变鸡耕以后，就把劳动力腾出来去种茶了嘛，也就做到啊粮食自给。 经济靠茶叶来发展。
At the same time, Sugowen believed that true restoration begins with the spirit. So he worked to revive the Blang script and traditional rituals. These efforts helped rebuild Jingmai Mountain's cultural landscape and allowed it to withstand crises that arose decades later.
07年茶价爆发，原来1公斤茶50、60块钱，但是到了07年就到800、1000以上都有。在这个时候，大家为了挣钱呐，就过度性的采摘。他突然看见了，觉得这个来得很容易。 所以他只想那个钱，而不知道采了这个茶了以后不发，甚至他会死掉嘛，他不管。
Some even suggested switching to terrace plantations to boost production. But Sugowen went around urging people to reduce production, helping the villagers come back to their senses.
全世界都是。 台地茶，我们不走这条路，老百姓有些也想不通嘛，他不干。我说你不拿掉，你最后减产的还是你。
Overharvesting was brought to an end in Jingmai Mountain, and disaster narrowly averted.
要让茶和万物同林共存，以天花万草共生。
1,000 years of perseverance finally bore fruit. Jingmai Mountain was presented with an historic opportunity. Applying for UNESCO World Heritage status seemed to present an opportunity to the young tea growers. In 2012, Shengun established the first tea factory under a cooperative model, along with a guest house called Jingmai Home.
小时候我妈妈说：“哎，这个小孩吗？ 买一定都要泡好几天吗？读书去了以后干不成农活，他说，但还是回来了。那时候是你从别人的眼光里面会感觉得到说，老远去读书还是回到家乡，内心就觉得你应该做跟别人不一样的事情。
Shengung went to Italy to seek new inspiration from coffee.
金麦上噶，如果再按以前传统的思想再去做事情，我还是觉得比较难嘛。你想做的跟别人不一样，你就要有探索的思想。
She invested in the construction of Jingmai Mountain's first standardized factory, an unprecedented endeavor in this community.
就是为什么要建厂房，让它规范生产的流程，然后你再把每一个流程当中的技术要点来有一个可参照的一些数据，做出来不同片区、不同分类的茶，你就可以对应到不同的客人。
传播你就熬买不会喝噶。
像现在我们自己工厂里面自己做，可能都会比较稳定，每一样可以喝一小口，
让茶走出去，连接更多的市场。
欢迎你们景迈人家，欢迎你们，
谢谢你们热爱景迈山，
谢谢大家这么多年的照顾。
做得好了，它就可以牵动你座山的经济。
As Shengung pursued her vision, the bid to list Jingmai Mountain as a World Heritage Site reached a crucial stage.
The legal protection of the tangible, practical, natural, cultural heritage complemented by referencing to the social norm and system.
Soon after its completion, Shengong's tea factory was temporarily closed, as its design did not meet the heritage application standards.
就比较难。本身景迈山它目前正在申遗，它马上跟世界有一些连接以后，我们需要去呈现什么样的一个景迈山？
一看这个路段，应该是我爷爷的杰作。我们踩的这个砖块，哎，然后在那儿，我也差不。因为景迈山的每一棵树都是说我们的爷爷的爷爷给你留下的，那你每一棵茶树就视为是你的上一辈人留给你的财富。
你觉得你有靠山，你也懂景迈山。
The tea factory carries Shengong's dream of making tea, while preserving Jingmai Mountain has always been her long-cherished wish.
踩地在边，你看啊，痛啊！喂，从小就会做茶喽。
你得先要把山茶人的关系要摆好，才能把景迈山更完整的呈现出来。下本nữa không bằng mà chị mình bên gì không? Học bộ. Đi dùng như các bạn này.
Without any hesitation, Shengung set about renovating her tea factory.
茶厂的整个改造到22年也基本上就改完了。
这棵茶树，爷爷的爷爷就种的爷爷，
整个这个过程差不多3年的时间，
孩子都长大了，你看。
Shengung renamed the guest house Fengzhu Home. Fengzhu means paying respect to your ancestors.
在景迈山，我们就应该奉茶为主，关爱家园。
Shengung firmly believes that if Jingmai Mountain is well cared for, it will never let its children down.
(9月17号，联合国教科文组织第45届世界遗产大会上，普洱景迈山古茶人文化景观
成为中国第57项世界遗产。
After 12 years of persistent efforts, the old tea gardens of Jingmai Mountain finally gained global recognition.
景迈山里面的人，自古以来就是以茶为生的。这个路不是今天走了，明天就不走，他要世世代代的走下去的。
我给你们留下这片肥沃的茶园，让子孙后代取不尽用不完。你们要相爱。
ancient tea forests that help preserve age-old ways of life, to an ocean whose bounty knows no limits. In Zhejiang province, more and more fishermen are heading out to sea to collect waste that endangers the fauna and flora under the sea.
As a typhoon approaches, Guo Wenbiao heads out to sea in the rain.
今天风雨交加，去看看岛上能不能登岛。马上就到了，这就是牛山岛。到，好，去了，上，走吧。
Every few days, Go Wenbiao comes to these nearby islands to collect trash, no matter the weather. In this sea of nearly 1,000 islands, garbage is slowly taking over.
这么一大片，你怎么去弄呢？怎么捡？捡不完，怎么捡？装不下，怎么装得下？哎呦，没有打火机，打火机烧掉。这里只是一部分，还有。 所有的岛屿里面都有。我以后为了这个岛养老，把所有的垃圾清理掉、处理掉。没办法，好了，走了，快点，等下来不及了，快点。 来我里，这里，来我里忙了，去水了不上来。
Go Wenbiao was born into a family of fishermen in Shitong, Wenling. His days often begin with a patrol through this coastal town.
I'm out of the来，你别给弄啊，动脉都弄那个，这种我们地了白水，抓住可以水出到，有机会都需要个。
For him, the land feels more like a stop along the way.
你们走高一点，涨潮有浪嘞！啊，掐嘞！人家都说在海边长大，我是在海里长大。
The sea of Go's childhood memories was quite different.
以前这里都没房子的，像海鲜池，叭跑下来，是那个树头下面，把它翻开，就有螃蟹。 看着海面上都是大鱼在那边活蹦乱跳，多少鲨鱼在那边游来游去，很自豪的。啊，像这一块那个蛋，散出来有多少螃蟹啊？所以说我们要把它放掉。这一块呢蛮重的。
Today, the ocean is still generous.
70斤。
But more often than not, Go Wenbiao has to search for fish among the trash.
打扫上都是垃圾。看看海底的垃圾，你看，全部都是垃圾，你看。把这个镜头拍过来。很多啊，每个岛屿都很多，说南北漂。
Zhejiang has more than 4,000 islands. Its long, twisting coastline shelters many safe harbors. Yet it conceals an endless tide of marine debris. Persistent solid waste from human activity is dumped into the sea at a rate of 1 truckload every minute. The ocean is becoming humanity's largest landfill. Also born by the sea, Chen Guangwei has worked in land-based waste recycling for more than 20 years.
我们让这个垃圾变得有价值，那它就不是垃圾。
In 2017, Chen Guangwei turned his attention to the sea and began exploring ways to manage marine debris.
这是我们在各个港口建设的海洋舱、港口的防污染配套设施。这些就是我们的滴滴船，通过我们的平台调度，把船舶上的污染物都全部给它收回来。点你的名字就可以了。大家都不配。
Chen Guangwei has applied the workflow for processing land-based trash to marine debris. Using a ride-hailing approach, he coordinates the collection and transport of trash, and then turns it into recyclable plastic pellets.
这塑料粒子可以做什么呢？
像你身上的衣服、你的安全帽、你的眼镜的框架，只要你能在生活中碰到的都能用。这个粒子在我们眼里就像跟宝石一样闪闪发光。
Marine debris is turned into a commodity. Every step of the process creates value. This is Chen Guangwei's vision of a blue circle. But the ocean he faces is far more complex than the land.
海底垃圾多了，鱼不会在这里生长。我们鱼江的看出去，土上的渔获也没有，不少垃圾。
Even more deadly than plastic waste are the ghost nets lurking in the depths.
海里的捕鱼网交到露水江里面去，船跑也不能跑，撤也不能撤。我们渔民是最怕的，这几年连续死了好多人。
都是渔网导致。
对。
Go Wenbiao once got into some trouble while trying to rescue others.
有一次。 大台风的时候，被人渔网缠住，他下去，给我卡在那边，我直接过去弄他的时候，一个浪颠簸把他楼下动一，两个人渔网缠在一起，氧气管都缠在里面。幸亏我是手上带着刀的，然后我就看好，准的把氧气给咔嚓割掉，直接就上来了。如果有渔网把我挡住，就跑不出来了。这个渔网。
Someone needs help. Go Wenbiao is not just a fisherman. He's more like a lifeguard at sea. With remarkable swimming skills, he's been rescuing people at sea as a volunteer since he was 15 years old.
渔民一旦在海上遇难，叫天天不应，叫地地不灵，有这个能力，能袖手旁观吗？救一命算一命。 我是默学者本命。
拉进，拉进，听拉进，拉了。
Once in the water, he can rely only on his swimming skills, experience, courage, and sometimes a bit of luck. Every time he comes ashore, he ends up with a few more injuries. From 2008 to 2018, Go Wenbiao completed 1,240 rescues at sea.
我现在是天不怕地不怕，就怕人家来电话，碰到一个不接，那就是生命搞怪的事情。我救过活人多，救过死人也多。
沿海的渔民老百姓，既然是污染的产生者，也是最直接的受害者。那如果把他们加入行动，我觉得这个很关键。
For the Blue Circle, the first step is to convince fishermen to bring the trash from the sea back to land. To tackle this problem, Chen Guangwei set up coastal recycling stations called Little Blue Houses. Fishermen can sell the trash they bring back locally, and the buyback prices are well above market rates.
我们在陆地上一个宽盐水瓶能卖3分钱，在海上或者边上捡一个瓶子，我们给他们是2毛钱一个，那相当于接近7倍的一个升值。
在捕鱼的过程中，把垃圾顺便带回来，他每个月基本上能到2000到2200左右。
一开始我们去找他们，他们都觉得这个是我们就是诈骗犯。
But Chen Guangwei can afford to pay high prices. On the international market, recycled plastic sells for several times the price of virgin plastic, as long as it comes from ocean waste.
西鲁渔船有 GPS 的一个定位，侧边这里有一个录像的功能，你按了一下。 开始收集。
那是周主席第一次到我们项目来进行调研。
那还是在椒江口，
对，
像个什么样，还很新奇。现在高大上了啊，那是4倍散热，咋刮目相看啊
The government opened the marine data interfaces needed for the Blue Circle and encouraged fishermen to collect trash, turning a grassroots effort into a systematic project.
完全靠企业领证还不行的，政府通过总结推广啊，给他提供更大的平台。我们要鼓励支持他，按照商业逻辑，按照市场的这个规律来做。
吃的都乱扔的，烦死了，这帮人。
Go Wenbiao was among the first to join the Blue Circle's recycling efforts.
我是小兰之家家长。 管整个周边的垃圾，今天收获蛮好的，20斤，也有30块。
利息收款25元。
Luckily, more and more fishermen are seeing the value of collecting marine debris. They're joining in, helping Little Blue Houses expand along the coastline. Now, with the summer fishing moratorium, a large number of fishing nets are set to be abandoned. Chen Guangwei has established a factory to recycle and repurpose them.
目前所有的渔网都是新料做的，没有用材成料做的，因为是一个空白嘛，在技术方面有很多的一些难点。这些是国内的行业我们都调研过，找不到符合我们验收这个要求，所以说我们自己去建这个工厂。
我们现在摆的是这条线，对吧？
对。
长空就往中间挪。
对对对，那我就可以把这个移到这边来，就看一下这个坡度，还有这个楼梯怎么设计，所以说看一下这个怎么改。
Chen Guangwei hopes that when fishermen set out to sea again, they'll be using fishing nets made from ocean-friendly, recycled materials.
只要我这个模式通了，就能让它无限的循环起来。
几十年来，这条船出事了，全部救回来。有过近期的，都肯定经历过多少风风雨雨的。一般情况下，人家不会那个轻易把你送进去给你。喂。
To make an ocean as clean as it once was requires more joint efforts.
All around China, from the golden sands around Dunhuang to the green Jingmai Mountains and the blue waters around Zhejiang Province, ordinary people are dedicating themselves to protecting the environment. As the environment flourishes, new opportunities for growth and greater prosperity are presenting themselves.